using the classroom as a place to share their political beliefs, this time slamming President Trump's Make America Great Again motto. Take a listen to this.
Maybe he's talking about it was great for segregation and subsidy. Maybe he's talking about the 70s when we had the Black Panther movement because people were still not being treated equally. Maybe he's talking about the 90s when we had a police officer beating Rodney King in the street. Then we had the 2000s and we still having the same issue. So when my president says, let's make America great again, when was he talking about? He must be talking about when it was great for Europeans.
Where it's not just the anti-Trump rant, but she said, America has never been great for minorities.
We have nothing to be proud of.
Tell that to minority entrepreneurs all around this country.
Well,
who live in the American dream.
and how many are trying to get over here to live in this great country, to have...
No.
First of all, I don't mean to cut the brother off. I just wanted that clip, but you can go check out what the brother had to say, because he made valid points as well. Men of Valor 13, man. You see the title right there. But first of all praise unto Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And honors to you brothers out there in the highways and the byways teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. And this just proves that the so-called white man is completely ignorant to not only what he has done to you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, but to the current condition that you actually live in reality. We're not talking about Floyd Mayweather and a handful of athletes that's out there compared to the other 99.9% of you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans that actually live in America. All right? About 0.01% of you actually got some kind of money in America. All right? Let's just keep it real. The fact of the matter is that the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, from the very beginning of America until now, languish in the lowest regions socio-economically of America. And all these immigrants they're saying that are coming into the country, the reason everyone's coming to America is, one, their countries are being oppressed and destroyed by the power structure, and two, it's a Venus flytrap. You know, they see the glitz and the glamour through Hollywood, and most of these immigrants think they can go to America to get a piece of that, but when they go there, they find out that's not the case. All right? That's just how it is. It's a Venus flytrap. Just look at the so-called Puerto Ricans. They're not enjoying the American dream, but they came to America because they thought that's what it was going to be. Just like the so-called West Indian in the UK. Why did they come here during the Windrush period? Because they thought that they were going to get a better life in Britain. But they came here and they're chilling in the lowest socio-economic regions of the UK, in all the inner cities, man. Now, some of them are footballers, and you might get one or two that's got some kind of business. But if you compare their people to the so-called white man, there's no comparison. There's no comparison, and that's not by accident. That's by design. Okay, because this economy is designed and managed to redistribute wealth. This is a fact. Now let's let the statistics come out. All right, this is from Forbes, and this is a 2018 article from February, right? It says, as we celebrate Black History Month, which we're not black, okay, we're Israelites. Our true history is recorded in the Bible, beginning with the Bible. We can take pride. Well, you know that pride is the beginning of sin, so we shouldn't be taking pride in anything. We can take pride in the progress we've made, while also acknowledge how far we have to go. Well, we haven't made any progress. We're still slaves, and we're still subordinate in this man's kingdom. We're still serving him, and everything we do in this kingdom is towards his ultimate benefit. All right? When you build up all these luxuries, all the delicacies in this kingdom, who really enjoys the delicacies? You come over here to London, who's really enjoying the 3-star Michelin restaurants? Who's enjoying the 5-star hotels and the upper class areas? The so-called white man is. The luxuries and the delicacies of this world are rarely given to the so-called white man. And it don't matter how hard you Jakes have worked, it's not for you. It's not meant to be for you. Okay? One troubling sign of the work we have to do can be seen in a wealth gap between so-called black Americans and white Americans that persists and even seems to be widening. Well, hold on. I thought we're making progress. Ain't no progress, man. All right, just because you got Floyd Mayweather and Oprah and Dr. Dre, you think that's something, man? Them guys are getting the crumbs from the deals they're making, man. You got devils making billions off them guys, and they might throw them a couple $100 million, and you think all of a sudden you think our people have made it. That you don't judge a people based upon one or two people that they got that's got money. You look at the people as a whole. Like, what is their general condition? The general condition of you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians is poverty. The general condition of the so-called white man in America is middle-class wealth. They consist of the majority of the middle class and the upper class and the elite. It's that simple. Yeah, for them, millionaires is nothing. For us, it's everything. That's why there's a term called hood rich. Because as soon as Jake get like 500,000, he's like a billionaire among our people. But among the so-called white man, having $1 million is nothing. It's like, okay, you're a millionaire. So's my uncle. Everyone's a millionaire. Jake don't know that life. The wealth gap measures the difference between the median wealth of blacks versus the median wealth of whites. Almost all studies calculate wealth by adding up total assets, cash, retirement accounts, home, then subtracting liabilities, credit card debt, student loans, mortgage. The resulting figure is your net worth. As I've argued before, net worth is probably the most important measure of overall financial health. It matters more than income because high earnings unfortunately don't always translate into financial security. I experience this often in representation of taxpayers before the IRS. Several of whom had 300,000 plus a year in income, but over 500,000 of tax debt. While the income gap provides a huge hurdle to equality, the wealth gap presents a mounting. And that's that gulf that you read of in the scriptures, man. Between Lazarus and the rich man. All right, that gulf between us, the so-called black man, Hispanic man, Native American man, the Israelite man, and the Edomite man. There's a gulf, there's a mountain between us. And that was established by his supremacy, by oppression, by wickedness, by deceit. Here are some of the statistics. According to the New York Times, for every $100 in white family wealth, black families hold just $5.04. Yeah, so can you understand that? Can you understand that? You understand this? Like, so when they talking about make America great again, when was it great for us? Tell that to the entrepreneur. Look, tell this to the facts, baby. $100 in white family wealth, black families hold just $5. Yeah, so $5.04. The Economic Policy Institute, which that's how they control all this stuff, man. Behind the scenes, they manipulate the economy, man, to make sure that wealth is redistributed to so-called white people and their corporations and what they're dealing with. Okay, that's how it works, man. They mine you. You so-called minorities are mined. You're like a gold mine. They go in there with their corporations, their businesses, and they mine you for everything you got. They use and abuse you. All right? That's why you're getting the shitty end of the stick. That's why you're always getting left wanting, lacking. All right? Which is the curses. It says, the Economic Policy Institute found that more than 1 in 4 so-called black households have zero or negative net worth compared to less than 1 in 10 white families without wealth. The Institute of Policy Studies' recent report, The Road to Zero Wealth, How the Racial Divide is Hollowing Out America's Middle Class, showed that between 1983 and 2013, the wealth of median black households declined 75% from $6,800 to $1,700, and the median Latino household declined 50% from $4,000 to $2,000. At the same time, wealth for the median white household increased, 14%, from $102,000 to $116,000. Okay? You might think that the economic outlook for the black community and other people of color has gotten better lately, given our president touting black unemployment is as low as it's ever been, which employment is just slavery. Yet RZW shows that far from getting better, the total economic picture for black people is still deteriorating. Right? Because no matter what you do, let's forget about employment. who controls the industries? Whoever controls the industries and the resources is who the wealth and the profit ultimately is going to trickle up to. All right. And you so-called black people don't control a single industry in America. You don't even control the music industry. You don't even control the sports industry. You are simply just human resources within those industries. You don't own and control it. Yeah. You don't control taxation. You don't control government spending. So who gets the big contracts and the tax breaks? You don't control none of that. So the economy is easily manipulated to mine you. To use and mine you, man, for the benefit of the so-called white man. It's that simple. If that wasn't the case, then these numbers wouldn't be staring you in the face. And it's showing you that it's actually gotten worse over the last 30 years. While they're talking about some civil rights. Yeah, slave rights. All right. In fact, by 2020, just 2 years away, black and Latino households are projected to lose even more wealth. 18%, and that was same in Obama. 18% for the former, 12% for the latter. After those declines, the median white household will own 86 times more wealth than its black counterpart and 68 times more wealth than its Latino one. If this trend continues, the median black household wealth will hit zero by 2053. How did this happen? The term systemic racism ruffles a lot of feathers. All right. Let me read that again. The term systemic racism ruffles a lot of feathers. It often triggers emotional arguments about how people feel about racism and its effects. Yet concrete data over long periods of time shows very clearly that systemic racism exists. So-called blacks were historically prevented from building wealth by slavery and Jim Crow laws that enforced segregation in the South until the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Government policies including the Homestead Act, the Chinese Exclusion Act, and even the Social Security Act were often designed to exclude people of color. For example, in the 1930s, as part of the New Deal, the Federal Housing Administration created loan programs to help make home ownership accessible to more Americans. The government created color-coded maps, green for good neighborhoods, red for bad neighborhoods, to determine who got those loans. Spoiler alert, many neighborhoods were designated as red because blacks and other people of color lived in them. This process, known as redlining, systematically prevented them from not only getting home loans, but also encouraged developers in green areas to explicitly discriminate against non-whites, non-Edomites. This often led households of color into wealth-stripping land contracts where they paid exorbitant prices for homes that they could lose very easily. These policies resulted in 98% of home loans going to Edomite families from 1934 to 1962. Not only did the ability to purchase homes give whites the ability to accrue wealth, it also attracted new businesses to those neighborhoods, which increased property values and allowed those homeowners access to other wealth-building vehicles, like going to college. As a result, wealth in the white communities compounded and passed to future generations. Yeah, because they're blessed in their own kingdom. They're Edomites, man. Their strength, man. In fact, let's get that in the scriptures, man. This is their kingdom. It's for them. It was never meant to be for you. I'm gonna have to come back to this, man. Let's get that, man. That's what we're reading about here, man. Psalm 73. Psalm 73. 1, it says, truly God is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. But as for me, my feet were almost gone, my steps had well nigh slipped, for I was envious at the foolish, because these so-called white people are the foolish, man. They're the wicked. All right. When I saw the prosperity of the wicked, these devils they're the ones that have been in prosperity. These Edomites are the ones, listen, when you're talking about tourism, you want to know who's in prosperity. Let's take tourism, for instance. When you go all around the world, who do you think tourism is catered to? Anytime I've ever been on holiday, you know, I go on holiday with my woman or take my children on holiday. Wherever we've been, whatever hotel we've stayed in, the food, the entertainment, no matter where you go, it's catered to so-called white people. Because they know that the majority of people that are going to afford to be going on holiday are so-called white people. That's just what it is. It's not catered to so-called black people or so-called Hispanics. No, because we hardly do those things. These Edomites go on holidays 2-3 times a year. 5-star. They're the ones going on cruises, and just go on YouTube and see who's really out there doing things. Who's got the disposable income to do these things. They're the ones that have been living it up, not Jake. Jake's idea of a holiday is paying a plane ticket to go somewhere where he already has family, so he stays with family. Jake don't be staying up in them 5-star hotels like that. Let's keep it real. All right? The prosperity of the wicked, for there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, as we just seen, neither are they plagued like other men. Because the system is designed for them, not for us. Therefore, pride, as we saw in the video, compasses them about as a chain, and violence covereth them as a garment. Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than heart could wish. They are corrupt, right? Because when they're trying to preach this equality and a fair shake, really it's not. The whole system is systematically designed to oppress our people on a deep level. They're corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. They set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walketh through the earth. All right? Therefore his people return hither, and waters of a full cup are run out to them. And they say, how doth the Most High know? And is there knowledge in the Most High? Behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world, they increase in riches. And then of our people, they'll give our people crumbs if they can work for them, basically to forward their agenda. So you ain't gonna get any type of money in this man's system unless you're working for his agenda and he's the main one making the profit. So you want to talk about Floyd Mayweather and all these basketballers and all these cats? Don't you know the so-called white man? First of all, that's his industry. Floyd Mayweather is a part of the boxing industry, the entertainment industry. At the end of the day, the people who are making the most profit out of that industry are so-called white people. If it wasn't like that, then they wouldn't be allowed to do what they're doing. Yeah, these basketballers, when Nike is paying them for a sponsorship deal, how much money do you think Nike's making from them? If Nike can afford to pay a basketballer 10 million on a sponsorship deal, then how many sales are they getting out of that? You think they're earning 20 million, so they're giving him half? You got to be out of your damn mind. They're making hundreds of millions off that guy. That's why they're giving him a 10 million. Yeah, have that crumb. And by the way, take that money you get, and you're gonna have to spend it in our industries, right? And we're gonna get the money back any damn way. Because when you go to buy a car, the car industry, we run it. When you go to buy your clothes, the clothes industry, we run it. If you go to buy a house, we run that. We own that. They run every industry on the planet Earth, man. So when you spend your money, it's being redistributed to them. Because you don't own your own resources and you don't control your own production. You have no industry. Not one. Because you're a slave. That's why the scripture said you will serve your enemies, meaning you'll be a human resource in the one of all things. You got to go to him and his industries for everything. His water companies, his gas companies. How many car companies are owned and controlled by so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians? None. But you might work in the factory though, or you might promote the car though. But do you own Bentley? Do you own Rolls Royce? Hell no. Do you own the government that's putting the taxes on? No, you don't. This is not your kingdom, man. All right, I'm gonna read a bit more of this, then I'm gonna get another precept. Cause these devils, man, it's evident what's going on out here. But they're trying to hide it and play nice and politically correct. And, we love minorities. Everyone's got a fair chance. We've come a long way. It ain't come nowhere, man. The compounding effects of these types of laws have led to the wealth chasm that now exists. Oh, chasm. Let's look at the word chasm. Because I might have to get Lazarus. You know how we do, man. Hey, the apostles and elders, man. They just gave me a style for me to run with. Chasm. A yawning fissure, a deep cleft in the earth's surface, a gorge, a breach, a wide fissure in a wall, or other structure. All right? A marked interruption of continuity, a gape. Yeah? Now, we can go to the story of Lazarus. See, there's a gape between us and the so-called white man. He represents the rich of this world. We represent the poor. Yeah, that's why we reside in the lowest social. As a people, we are the poor. Look at the wealth of our people in South America. Who has all the wealth in South America? So-called white people, the Edomites that live there. The actual natives of that land living on less than $1 a day. Check it out, man. Come on, man. We're the poor. All right. Yeah, Lionel Messi, he's making some money because he's playing for Barcelona. Yeah, you got certain of them natives from Brazil, from out the favelas. Yeah, they might start kicking the ball around, come to Europe and make the club a whole millions. So the club throw them some crumbs, because that's what they're gonna get. They're nothing but their employees, their human resources. The owner of the club and all that, they're the ones making the big dough. Okay, and everyone else that's involved in that industry, yeah, some of them might get money, but then compare that to all the other millions of people that's in the favelas. Come on. So this is a worldwide thing. It's not even just America. It's the same thing in Britain, France. The Israelites are in the lowest socio-economic regions, man. All right. Right, Luke 16:19. There was a certain rich man which was clothed in purple and fine linen and fared sumptuously every day. That represents the so-called white man. They've been that American dream. They've been living deliciously ever since they came into power and enslaved the so-called Negro and took down the different nations and spoiled the nations of the world. That's why it's called the first world. That's why you got a first world and you got a. First of all, let's look that up. What is this? Why the first world is synonymous with the West, and then all the other first world countries outside of the West are pretty much so-called white people? Australia, South Africa. All right. Now, what does it mean by the first world? What is the first world? You got the first world there, and you got the third world. First world is pretty much these major Edomite nations in Europe and America, right? And then you got Australia and South Africa. All right. Now, let's get this thing here. Right. The United States used the terms first, second, third, and fourth worlds to define the relative wealth of nations. So the first world represents the wealthy nations. Now, you so-called Negroes live in the first world, but you within the first world, you live like you're in the third world, because your wealth is you haven't shared in that wealth, in the spoils. You are a spoil. All right, you are a spoiled man. You are nothing more than a slave residing in his master's house. All right, that's why you got something called the first world. All right, you clothed in purple and fine linen. You wear the finest of everything, and it tells you, especially America, because it tells you about Babylon the Great and all the merchandise that they buy, and it mentions the purple and the fine linen, being that woman clothed in scarlet and purple and all that. All right. That's when, what do you think Trump's talking about when he's talking about making America great again? Because you got a lot of so-called white people now that are falling into the cracks because their time is up. He wants to go back to a time when the middle class was greater. He says stronger. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus And that's you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. You're beggars because the so-called white man utterly spoiled you. You don't have anything. You don't have your own resources. You don't have your own countries. You don't have your own lands. You are under the power and subjection of another people. You don't have anything. You're a beggar. What do you have? What do you have, man? You don't have a damn thing. All right? And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate full of sores, and desiring to sores. The sores represent, look, we're messed up. Our family structure is fucked up because of the so-called white man. Everything about us is fucked up. Our education is everything about we're sick. We're wounded. We're a wounded people. Yeah? And desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. And that's what we receive. That's why for every $100 the so-called white man has, we got $5, because that's called a crumb. And that's why I tell you, even these niggas that's up in the end that you think are making all this money, they're only receiving the crumbs. If you compare it to the money that their handlers are making, they're making a lot more. It's a crumb, but because you're so small-minded, you think, oh, Floyd got paid $100 million for that fight. You don't even understand the kind of money that fight generated, man. That fight generated billions. And they gave Floyd like 100 mil. Crumb. That's the definition of a crumb. You look at the music industry. Them guys get like $1 on a cent on the dollar or something on the record deal. It's ridiculous. Now, they can get into a position where they might get a bigger crumb. Like instead of getting a record deal, you can get a record label deal. So you might get a bigger piece of the crumb. But you're still going to get a crumb. Because without the so-called white man, you can't do shit. This is Dragon's Den. You need his capital. You need his say-so. He could shut you down anytime he wants. This is his world. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate full of sores and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. And the dogs represent these other nations who also take advantage of our people, the so-called Chinese, the so-called Indian man. They come in and they mine our people. They open up their stores in our neighborhood and they mine wealth from us. And it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. Why Abraham's bosom? Because we are of the seed of Abraham. All right. The Lazarus represented the Israelite. The rich man also died and was buried. And in hell, meaning in the grave, meaning they were dead, he lifted up his eyes, being in torments, and seeth Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom. Remembering this is a parable. Yeah, he ain't actually in torment in the spirit realm. This is a parable for what's going to happen. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. Because these Edomites, in the hereafter, in the reincarnation, in the next world, in the next age, they're going to be tormented. But we're going to be comforted as the children of Abraham. It says, but Abraham said, Son, remember thou in thy lifetime, when you had your time, receivest thy good things. And likewise Lazarus evil things. He was getting the shitty end of the stick. Our people are getting the shitty end of the stick right now. But now he is comforted and thou art tormented. And that's what's going to happen. In the kingdom of heaven, we're going to be comforted in riches and in glory. And the so-called white man is going to be tormented. And beside all this, between us and you, there is a great gulf fixed. That's that chasm. There's going to be a chasm. Just like there's a chasm on this side, there's going to be a chasm on the other side. So that they which would pass from hence to you cannot, neither can they pass to us that would come from thence. Then he said, I pray thee therefore, Father, that thou wouldest send him to my father's house. For I have 5 brethren, that he may testify unto them, lest they also come into this place of torment. Abraham saith unto him, they have Moses and the prophets, let them hear them. Because these so-called white people, when they did what they did to our people, who we are the Israelites, they had the scriptures. The scriptures was there. They were the ones boasting about how they could read and they're the people of God and that. So why didn't you apply the scriptures? So you're finished, man. By the wickedness that you've done, you're going to be judged, man. About make America great again. And he said, Nay, Father Abraham, but if one went unto them from the dead, they will repent. And he said unto him, If they hear not Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded, though one rose from the dead. All right. So these Edomites, man, ultimately, what this parable is telling you is that, look, man, Esau's going to have his part in this life. They're going to have that part, and there's going to be a gulf. But then in the end of the deal, we're going to be comforted, and he's going to be tormented. All right? It's that simple. Oh, it says, the compounding effects of these types of laws have led to the wealth chasm that now exists. Even now, these effects are felt between otherwise similar families of different races. According to Economic Policy Institute, the typical so-called black family with a graduate or professional degree lagged its white counterpart in wealth by more than $200,000. Yeah, what can we do? Racial wealth inequality is a huge problem that not only affect communities of color, but also will have a lasting impact on our country as a whole. Some 70% of our economic growth comes from consumer spending. As Black and Latino households grow to become the majority of the population, their inability to spend due to the lack of wealth and paying down debt will slow economic growth. We owe it to ourselves and future generations to start correct, but they ain't gonna correct. Listen, this kingdom is gonna be destroyed, right? And the Lord is the one that's gonna heal us. Yeah, the so-called white man ain't gonna heal us, man. Yeah, the Lord is gonna restore our people. The so-called white man is not set up to restore us. He's set up to destroy us, to spoil us. That's what he was set up to do. He ain't gonna be the solution. All right, the solution is with Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai. Jeremiah 30 and I might as well read this whole thing. I don't care. Jeremiah 30 and 10. Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Lord, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity, and Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest and quiet, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. For I am with thee, saith the Lord, to save thee, though I make a full end of all nations which I have scattered thee. So the Lord's going to make a full end of America. The Lord's going to make a full end of all these nations. Yet will I not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. Because being under this so-called white man and suffering the things we have suffered under his rule has been a punishment unto us. That's what he was set up to do. All right, for thus saith the Lord, thy bruise is incurable, and thy wound is grievous. And I just showed you that sore, that wound, and it's incurable. There is none to plead thy cause. The so-called white man don't give a fuck about you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, man. You ain't woke up to that fact yet? He's just using you, man, wherever he can. You're nothing but human resources to him. He don't care about racism. Okay? Come on, give me a break. There is none to plead thy cause, that thou mayest be bound up. Thou hast no healing medicines. All thy lovers have forgotten thee. They seek thee not. Ain't nobody trying to help you. For I have wounded thee with the wound of an enemy, with the chastisement of a cruel one, for the multitude of thine iniquity, because thy sins were increased. Why criest thou for thine affliction? Thy sorrow is incurable for the multitude of thine iniquity, because thy sins were increased. I have done these things unto thee. Therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured. So the so-called white man's about to get devoured, baby. And all thine adversaries, every one of them, all these nations, shall go into captivity. They're going to become our slaves. And they that spoil thee shall be as spoiled. They spoiled us, left us with nothing. We're going to completely spoil them. We're going to take them and everything they got. And all they that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. For I will restore health unto thee. The Lord is going to restore health unto us. The wealth, the riches, the physical strength, everything. Everything, complete health. Mental, physical, spiritual. And I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith the Lord, because they called thee an outcast, saying, This is Zion, whom no man seeketh after. Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tents. And who's going to do that? The deliverer, the savior, Yahweh Shai. Which his return is imminent. Imminent, look up that word. Right? And have mercy on his dwelling places, and the city shall be builded upon her own heaps, and the palace shall remain after the manner thereof. And out of them shall proceed thanksgiving and the voice of them that make merry, and I will multiply them, and they shall not be few. I will also glorify them, and they shall not be small. Their children also shall be as the foretime, their congregation shall be established before me. I will punish all that oppress them. You so-called white people are fucked. And their nobles shall be of themselves. We ain't gonna have no heathens lording it over us. The nobles of Israel are gonna be Israelites in righteousness, beginning with the 12 apostles, the 144,000, man. And their governor shall proceed from the midst of them, which is Yahweh Shai, and under Yahweh Shai is King David. And I will cause him to draw near. Hey, that's why you get Matthew. That links up with Matthew, the 2nd chapter and the 5th verse. Where out of Bethlehem was going to come him that was going to govern his people Israel. So eat that, man. So Yahweh Shai is that governor. For who is this that engaged his heart to approach unto me, saith the Lord? And ye shall be my people, and I will be your God. Behold, the whirlwind of the Lord goeth forth with fury, a continuing whirlwind. It shall fall with pain upon the head of the wicked. That's you Edomites. The fierce anger of the Lord shall not return until he have done it, until he have performed the intents of his heart. In the latter days you shall consider it. Because you Edomites really don't understand that you got something coming your way from a higher power, because of what you view the so-called Negro as nothing, like an animal, like a cow. That you really think that everything you done to our people, you got away with it, man. You could just laugh it off, or you could just, say, oh, I'm sorry, and then keep all the spoils to yourself and carry on doing your wickedness. Nah, there's a higher power, man, that's gonna come in and whoop you, man, real good. You're gonna get that 12 years of slave whooping, man. The Lord's gonna deal with you, man. All right, you're gonna deal with your children. Damn devils. I wanted to get Psalm 94 as well. I don't care, man. Chant up these Psalms on these devils, man. Psalms 94 and 1. O Lord God, to whom vengeance belongeth. Yeah, vengeance, man. So you Edomites, man, you think you're the only ones that's entitled to vengeance. Yeah, and because we don't have the power to take vengeance, because we're subordinate underneath you, you got the superior military technology, you're the strong enemy. Yeah, you think you got it sweet. But you don't know that the Heavenly Father is above you, and He's gonna deliver you as He delivered us into your hands. He's gonna deliver you into our hands. The Lord is gonna deliver us from He that is stronger than us, man. When I say stronger, I mean militarily, because individually, physically, you Edomites are weak, but you got a strong military. You got that sword, which is your blessing, that great sword. That's all you got, and that lying tongue. And God, to whom vengeance belongeth, shew thyself. Lift up thyself, thou judge of the earth. Render a reward to the proud. It says, Lord, how long shall the wicked triumph? And that's what it is. These devils have been triumphing, and I read the statistics. That's why these devils can sit up there and be. Because they've been triumphing.
He loves me talking about when it was great for Europeans.
It's not just the anti-Trump rant, but she said, America has never been great for minorities.
We have nothing to be proud of.
Tell that to minority entrepreneurs all around this country.
Well,
and how many are...
I think that was the pride compasseth them about as a chain. But guess what, baby? How long? Not too much longer. You better take your ass on that 5-star spa holiday, man. You better get all them massages. You better get massages with the happy ending, man. Because what you're about to enter into, man, I don't want to be you. All right? Forget that. How long shall the wicked triumph? How long shall they utter and speak hard things, and all the workers of iniquity boast themselves? And you see all over they always talking shit about so-called black people, man. Yeah, black people, this and that. Look, man. They break it. Look, our country is superior. This, that, and the other. Look, man, your country is about to be a pit. That's what's going to be your landmass. That's what you're going to claim. Your nationality is going to be based on a pit somewhere in Israel that you're going to be put in. You damn devil. You're going to share that pit with the worms and the scorpions. All right? That's going to be your neighbors. Neighbors. Everybody needs good neighbors. Yeah, you're going to have them scorpions and them mosquitoes biting your ass up because you tried to eradicate the mosquitoes, man. Them mosquitoes going to bite your ass up. Gonna be feasting on you, man. All right? All kind of weird-ass creatures are going to be on your ass, man. Up in your ass. All right? It says, they break in pieces thy people, O Lord, and afflict thine heritage. They slay the widow and the stranger and murder the fatherless. Yet they say, the Lord shall not see, neither shall the God of Jacob regard it. Understand ye brutish among the people, and ye fools. When will ye be wise? He that planted the ear, shall he not hear? He that formed the eye, shall he not see? He that chastiseth the heathen, shall he not correct? He that teacheth man knowledge, shall not he know? The Lord knoweth the thoughts of man, that they are vanity. Blessed is the man whom the Lord chasteneth, O Lord, and teacheth him out of thy law, that thou mayest give him rest from the days of adversity, until the pit be digged for the wicked. I told you about that pit, didn't I? For the Lord will not cast off his people, neither will he forsake his inheritance. So the Lord ain't going to leave us in your hand. The Lord is going to deliver his people, beginning with the elect. And what do you think going to happen to you when that time comes? Because guess what? But judgment shall return unto righteousness, and all the upright in the heart shall follow it. All right? Anyway, with that, I'm going to leave it there. Hey, these devils have got some nerve. America ain't going to be made great again. America's the hinder most of the nations. You Edomites, you're finished. When America is destroyed, that's the end of your kingdom. You're done. You're washed up. Right? Just make the most of it while you can, because you got 1,000 years of there isn't even a word in the English to describe what you're about to go through for 1,000 years. All right? You're going to have to feel it to truly understand what's going to go down. All right? So with that, I'm going to say shalom.